Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to His confounder Chara is Evangelist Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Guru Gauranga. Welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam. We're very fortunate and glorious to have His Grace MEDHAVI Prabhu who will be speaking to us on Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So I'll put the verse on the screen and we can start.
We can begin.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Presho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Niksaya Sayasa Lokasya Danyam Swasti Ayanam Mahat. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 21. Conversation between Manu and Kardama. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Text number 13. Rishir Uvacha Justam Badaya Kila Satvarashe Samsidyam Akshnostava Darshanana Yadarshanam Janmabir Idyasadbir Ashashate Yogino Ruda Yoga Rishiruvacha Justam Batadya Kila Satvarashe Samsidyam Akshnos Tava Darshanana Yadarshanam Janmabir Idyasadbir Asasate Yogino Ruda Yoga. Synonyms. Rishi Uvacha, the great sage said, Justam is attained, Bata, Adya, now, Akila, all, Sattva, of goodness, Rashe, who are the reservoir, Samsidyam, the complete success, Akshno, of the two eyes, Tava, of you, Darshanat, from the sight, Naha, by us, Yet, of whom, Darshanam, sight, Janmabi, through births, Idya, a worshipable Lord, Sadbi, gradually elevated in position, Ashasate, aspire, Yogina, yogis, Rudha Yoga, having obtained perfection in yoga. Translation. The great sage Kardama said, O supreme worshipable Lord, my power of sight is now fulfilled, having attained the greatest perfection of the sight of you, who are the reservoir of all existences. Through many successive births of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form. I'll repeat that again. The great sage Kardama said, O supreme wonderful Lord, my power of sight is now fulfilled, having attained the greatest perfection of the sight of you, or the reservoir of all existences. Through many successive births of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form.
Hello.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Are you on the other side?
We can hear you, Mataji.
Skilled nursing. Yeah, she's in skilled nursing. Right?
Yeah, because she looks like somebody I know.
People know your face.
We can hear you. If you can turn off your audio.
Sorry, Maharaj. It's taking care.
Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described here as a reservoir of all goodness and all pleasure. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is no real pleasure. When, therefore, one's body, mind, and activities are situated in the service of the Lord, one is on the highest perfectional stage of goodness. Kardama Muni says, quote, "Your lordship is a reservoir of all that can be understood by the nomenclature of goodness, and by experiencing you face to face, eye to eye, the perfection of sight has now been attained," unquote. These statements are the pure devotional situation. For a devotee, the perfection of the senses is to engage in the service of the Lord. The sense of sight, when engaged in seeing the beauty of the Lord, is perfected. The power to hear, when engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, is perfected. The power to taste, when one enjoys by eating prasad, is perfected. When all the senses engage in relationship with the personality of Godhead, one's perfection is technically called bhakti yoga, which entails detaching the senses from material indulgence and attaching them to the service of the Lord. When one is freed from all designated conditional life and fully engages in the service of the Lord, one's service is called bhakti yoga. Kardama Muni admits that seeing the Lord personally in bhakti yoga is the perfection of sight. The exalted perfection of seeing the Lord is not exaggerated by Kardama Muni. He gives evidence that those who are actually elevated in yoga aspire in life, after life, to see this form of the personality of Godhead. He was not a fictitious yogi. Those who are actually on the advanced path aspire only to see the eternal form of the Lord. Translation: the great sage Kardama said, "O Supreme Worshipful Lord, my power of sight is now fulfilled, having attained the greatest perfection of the sight of you, or the reservoir of all existences. Through many successive bursts of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form." Om Jnana Tamandasya, Anantana Salakaya, Chakshu and Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Gurin, Yat Kripatam Aham Bande, Sri Gurun Dinatarana. Hare Krishna. So Kardama Muni was manifested from the shadow of Lord Brahma. So that's mentioned in the third canto, 12th chapter, verse 27. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that all the sons of Brahma were manifested from either the body or mind of Lord Brahma. So he also mentions in the purport that the modes of nature, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, there's always competition between the different modes, and they're generally present in a mixture. So all of Brahma's sons were generated in the modes of passion and ignorance, but some, like Kardama, were born in the mode of goodness. So as we have read through the different times that Lord Brahma created different entities, Some of the first ones outside of the four Kumaras were rather tragic, and they had to be those forms had to be discarded. He had to give up that form. But Kardama Muni and others, the Kumaras and Narada, are born from the mode of goodness. So Kardama had performed severe austerities for 10,000 years. Of course, this was in the Satya Yuga, so 10,000 is like a tenth, but still pretty good time, in pure meditation on the Lord. And the Lord was so pleased by his austerities that when he came to see Kardama, there were tears falling from his eyes. And as later mentioned, those tears became the Manasarovara, the lake, which is non-different. The tears are different. Krishna's tears are no different from Krishna. So sometimes the question is asked, why didn't Kardama worship the Lord without material desires? Because as we'll see in another verse or two, that Krishna understands why he's been performing these austerities. But the answer is that Kardama was bound by the instructions of Lord Brahma, which are in turn coming from the Lord himself to create progeny. So he was the dutiful son of Brahma. All of Brahma's sons basically were given the duty of creating progeny. So he had entered into that meditation in order to perform his activity properly. And we find that other great sages as well, when they were given this order to create progeny, what is the first thing they did? They went and performed austerities. They went and formed austerities. It's a similar situation, which we'll mention will be in the fifth canto, where Maharaj Priyavrata, who was the eldest son of Swayambhuva Manu, he had to leave his position as a pure devotee servant of Narada Muni at Ganga Madana after Uttanapada and his younger brother and his issue, Dhruva and Uttama and others, had finished. Then Priyavrata had to be called to take over the rule of the universe, even though he was a pure devotee and a son of, or disciple of Narada Muni. So how was it he was going to give up devotional service in order to take over the rulership of the universe? So here's also an instance where the connection between the management of the universe and the service of the Lord run concurrently. So of the Manava Putras, also we have the story of Atri Muni. He was also ordered to create progeny, and he also went to perform austerities to bring, why do they perform austerities? To bring a good quality of progeny. He also performed severe austerities to have a son, like the Lord. So it's in the first chapter of the fourth canto. It describes how he was praying to the Jagat Ishwara, the ruler, the Lord of the universe, but he didn't actually know who the Lord of the universe was. He wasn't sure. And therefore, all three of the Guna avatars, they appeared at the same time. There was Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, and they are all lords of the universe in the three departments of the modes of nature. So they didn't get all upset. They all three, they appeared before Atri Muni. Atri Muni was also performing an interesting austerity of standing on one leg. Somehow austerities of standing on your tiptoes and raising your arms or standing on one leg seemed to be some kind of regular austerity that people performed. So they all three benedicted Atri Muni. From Vishnu came Dattatreya. From Brahma came the moon, Lord Chandra. And from Lord Shiva came Durvasa Muni. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport there that one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. So creating good progeny is a great opportunity to bless the world, not just the occasion to gratify the senses. So this is the big problem for those who accept the householder life. The idea is to bring good children into the world, but how can one do that unless one's senses are controlled? Of course, the senses are controlled. They're not stopped. They're engaged in the service of the Lord, but still the determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. So what will be the result? What will be the result? What is the desire? Just like we have in the material world, Tiger Woods, the great golfer. So what did he want? He wanted a son who would be also a good golfer. And wherever you go in the world, there are people who are rugby stars, cricket stars, football stars, baseball stars, basketball stars. What do they want? They want progeny. They want a son who will also be a great star, a great star. But so devotees also, they need to focus their attention on bringing purified souls into the world through Garbhadan Sanskara and understanding how important their consciousness must be in order to invite some elevated soul to come. Prabhupada mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the demigods are waiting. They're waiting in line to take birth on this earth at this time because in a relatively short lifetime of 100 years, instead of 311 trillion years or so many other millions or billions of years, in 100 earth years, they can achieve perfection by participating in the Lord's Sankirtan movement. So that's important. The conception, the consciousness of conception must be there. The story is there of Prahlad Maharaj, and we always wondered how was it that Prahlad was born to Hiranyakashipu. So His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami revealed to us that the Nrsimha Purana explains that Parvat Muni and Narada Muni, when they understood that Hiranyakashipu wanted to perform austerities to become the ruler of the universe, and he started performing his austerity, then they took the form of birds, and they went and stood on a tree branch above where he was standing, and they began to chant in their bird voices, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this was so disturbing. This was so unwanted by Hiranyakashipu that he tried to chase them away. He tried to kill them, but they were flying away. So he was chasing them and everything, and then he lost his determination for performing the austerity. So he went back home. He went back home to his wife, and of course, wifey's there. And so they got into it. And as Hiranyakashipu was about to conceive, then this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya came into his mind. And in that way, Prahlad was born. So more also, we have the example of Srila Prabhupada in Mumbai. In the early 70s, Prabhupada was invited to a conference The conference was organized by Mrs. What's her name again? Mrs. Munchie, who had been the lady who had taken Prabhupada's Radha Memorial from him in Jhansi. She wanted it for a women's sewing club. So she was now the leader of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, the book club. They have different places in the world where they have rooms or buildings that are mostly for a reading room, all the Vedic literatures from the Gita Press and other things. So they were asking Srila Prabhupada, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you get these Western boys to shave their heads and wear dhotis? How did you get the women to wear saris? And Prabhupada mentioned that you have to have the books. But they had the books. But there must be training as well. There must be training as well. And I have given both. So this is the point. And even especially with the devotees as well, that the birth must be there, the proper conception must be there, but the training must also be there, the training. So parents want a nice devotee, but mostly we want a son who will be a materialistic success to care for us when we get old, unfortunately. Srila Prabhupada, when he was in New York, just before the Rath Yatra of 1976, he was riding in the car, and he'd just gotten the news that one of his senior devotees had left, who had a very responsible position. And Prabhupada turned to the other sannyasis in the car, and he mentioned that I'm in a war. I need leaders. I need leaders to lead the charge. So he said, it's called Battlefield Commission. You have all privates, but you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lieutenant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lieutenant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lieutenant. So they're privates. But he said, I need leaders to lead the charge. So what's a leader? A leader knows how to push people beyond their willingness, the comfort zone, we call it these days. A leader is not interested in popularity or pampering people's egos. He wants the job done. So Prabhupada said this is a pushing movement. And it's interesting, in the early 70s, I don't know if people are aware of it, but there was a magazine, I don't even know if it still exists. It was called Mad magazine, and it was a very cynical, humorous, and it had no qualms about attacking or interrupting anyone. It was a cartoon. It was in the form of cartoons. So in this one cartoon, it showed a devotee, a big Brahmananda-sized devotee, and he's got his book bag, and he's got a book in his hand. And the next little chapter, it shows a little sailor, He's got the little hat, and he's got the kind of high water pants on, and he's got the little necktie. And he's walking down, and then the big Brahmananda devotee stops him and shows him the book, and the devotee's bowing his head up and down. The next one shows the little Navy guy, and he's going, And the next slide, there's a big cloud, and the arm with the book is here, and the one leg is going out there, and like that, it's a big cloud. And then the end, you see the sailor on the ground with the book in his throat, and the big devotee is walking away counting some bills like that. So they showed that to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's response was, yes, this is a pushing movement. This is a pushing movement. So we watch quite a few military documentaries, and the basic training is to follow orders, accomplish the goals. So we were speaking to Bhakti Gauranga Maharaj, and he was asking me what I thought about him taking sannyas. And I told him that it's like, who will charge the machine guns? Who will charge the machine guns? The machine guns are shooting. The people are running off the beach, or they have to charge ahead. But the soldiers aren't afraid. They know that we have to conquer this position. We have to run. We have to charge through the bullets. So maybe I will take a bullet that will allow someone else to succeed. Someone else to succeed. So Srila Prabhupada raised this movement on the understanding that we are here simply to serve the disciplic succession. We also know Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on the line of creating pure devotees. He said, if I could produce pure devotees, I'm willing to have sex life hundreds of times. So Prabhupada's message was to create devotees by preaching. And many Western devotees could appreciate that it would be more efficient to join the preaching movement of ISKCON than to try and bring our family members to Krishna consciousness. We became interested in Krishna consciousness. We met devotees. We got a book, and we thought, this is so wonderful. This is really important. This is what life is for. But when we present it to our family, they're thinking, no, this is too much. This is crazy. This is crazy. So we could understand, rather than trying to convince our family members to be Krishna conscious, it's better if we surrendered to the ISKCON society and ended up traveling, being sent across the world, around the world, to try to spread and maintain Krishna consciousness. So the mood is always to continue the preaching, manage temples, collect funds, etc. We weren't encouraged to focus our energies on training our children. Even here in South Africa, though thousands of devotees here, we have no school. We don't even have a day school. We don't have a farming community. But it has showed that homeschooling is very important. One parent will dedicate time to teaching Krishna consciousness to their children. So many household families are satisfied if their children are vegetarian, they have a good career, and, they're favorable to ISKCON. But we're actually hoping for more. We're hoping that the devotees will be real preachers of Krishna consciousness, but that takes some choice and some determination, even from the parents. So Kardama Muni, he will be the father of Lord Kapila Dev, and his daughters, they will be married to all the sages. So this is all part of the plan of the Lord, as we were mentioning about Atri Muni and Priyavrata, that actually it's all part of the Lord's plan, even for the creation. The creation is the big plan, or what we generally call the college of hard knocks. And the devotional process bhakti is actually the simplest path. for spiritual realization. But either through properly performing one's duties in the material world, of course, Varna and Ashram, which we don't have either, but still gradually as people become more and more convinced that the world cannot go on as it is. It has to be changed in a way that people who are godly can be in control. This was the whole idea of Battle of Kurukshetra. Duryodhana was a good leader, but he was a demon. He was against the Supreme Personality of God. So now, even in countries that are fairly well run, which is not possible at all, because everyone is simply managing their greed. The whole financial system around the world is managing greed. And as soon as the greed gets out of hand, then the whole thing collapses. The whole collapses. Collapsed in 2008. It's about to do something. Either they'll have a third world war or some other crazy thing. We have the big ego trips who are trying to change the whole world, and everything they're doing is creating a more horrible situation for the individual people in this world. So, and Kardama has been greatly blessed by the Lord, and the Lord has understood that his desire is to have a wife of similar tendencies, so that he can fulfill his duty to his father, Lord Brahma, and ultimately achieve the highest benediction. So what can be better than seeing the Lord face to face? So this is the perfection that Kardama Muni attained, but still he had this desire to complete the service that he was created for by his father. So it's an interesting crossroad between spiritual development and the progress of the universe. So we have much to learn from Kardama, from Mother Devahuti, and from Kapila Dev. So we'll stop there. I hope if there are any questions. Hare Krishna. All right, Paul.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this beautiful class. Yeah, Krishna Prabhu, please can you unmute?
Sorry?
Yeah, please,
Hare
you can
Krishna.
go ahead with
Do you have a
Yes,
question?
MEDHAVI Das Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, if I am allowed, I have two questions. The first one is related to you mentioning that Prahlad Maharaj, he was born because at the time of conception, his father, Hiranyakashipu, he in his mind the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya manifested, no?
Yes, that's what His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami told us was in the Nrsimha Purana.
Oh, so this is a Shastric reference that we can find in the Nrsimha Purana?
Yes, I don't think Maharaj would have presented it unless it was so.
Yes, because this is amazing, because yesterday I was attending Srimad Bhagavatam's morning class by ISKCON Denver, and I did ask to the speaker, how do you explain that Prahlad Maharaj, being so exalted, he took birth in the family, in the most demonic family of the time. After all, Hiranyakashipu was the king of demons, and he was trying to control the whole universe by his demoniac ways. So, and the speaker gave me a very satisfactory answer, but she did not include this quote, this Shastric reference. But related to this, my exact question is, why did the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya manifested in the mind of Hiranyakashipu? Do you know the reason why?
Well, because he was chanted by Narada Muni and Parvata Muni over his head when he started his meditation. When he tried to start his austerity, I don't know if you heard that, he had put his arms up, he was standing on his toes, and then they understood what he was trying to do. So they, from what I understood and what I heard, they took the form of birds, and then they stood just above the heads of Hiranyakashipu, and they began to chant that mantra. So that's the same mantra that Dhruva Maharaj chanted in order to attain perfection. So it is perfectly powerful enough to perform that change in the heart.
Yes. Now I remember they took the birds. They were parrots. No.
Yeah, some kind of squawking.
Some kind of yes. Now my second question. I think you know better than me that Bhaktisiddhanta, he used to say, I think it was Bhaktisiddhanta, he used to say that don't try to see God. On the contrary, act in such a way that God will become interested in seeing you. Because after all, God is not your order carrier that you say, oh God, come here because I want to see you. But because God is God and he's not your order carrier, he will not do it. Unless it is a very special circumstance and a very advanced devotee perhaps. But generally speaking, just because you say, oh, I want to see God, so God, come here and show yourself to me, it won't happen because, again, at least that is the explanation given by Srila Prabhupada, God is not your order carrier. In accordance with Bhaktisiddhanta, we should make an effort to capture the attention of the Lord, of Lord Krishna, in the way that he would become interested in us and want to see us because of the way we are acting, preferably in pure devotional service. Now, the verse of today, and that is what is confusing to me. The verse of today ends, what is the last sentence of the verse?
What is the what?
The last sentence of the translation of the verse you chose for today, that the transcendentalists all that they want is to see the form of the Lord. Yes, quote, through many successive bursts of deep meditation, and thank you for highlighting it, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form. So this sentence, and this is my second question, this sentence goes totally against what Bhaktisiddhanta is preaching to us. That if you are an advanced yogi, you're going to act in such a way that you're not going to want to see the Lord. The Lord, on the contrary, you will act in such a way that the Lord will become interested in seeing you. So I'm confused mostly because of this sentence, last sentence of the translation to today's verse. So what is the perfection of yoga? Wanting to see the Lord or the Lord wanting to see us because of how perfectly we are acting in his devotional service? I'm very confused. And that is my second question.
Okay. That's a very nice question. Very nice point.
Thank you, Prabhu.
In the previous purport, Prabhupada mentions about the, of course, Krishna mentions in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where yoga practice is described. This realization of the personal form of the Lord is called the perfection of yoga. After practicing the sitting postures and other regulative principles of the system, one finally reaches the stage of samadhi, absorption in the Supreme. In the samadhi stage, one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his partial form as Paramatma. Samadhi is described in authoritative yogic scriptures, such as the Patanjali Sutras, to be a transcendental pleasure. The yoga system described in the books of Patanjali is authoritative. We'll skip up a bit. The Patanjali yoga system is called Astanga Yoga. Patanjali describes that the soul is transcendently pleased when he meets the super soul and sees him. If the existence of the super soul and the individual soul is admitted, then the impersonalist theory of monism is nullified. According to Patanjali, when one becomes free from all material desires, he attains his real transcendental situation, and realization of that stage is called spiritual power. So he goes on to explain that people get bewildered by yogic powers, and then they get diverted. But the oneness of understanding that the Supreme Lord is fully spiritual, and in that full spiritual realization, one can understand what he is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Patanjali, or in the language of Patanjali, realization of spiritual power. So there is a practice in the yogic system of Patanjali where after the Prabhupada mentions, after the regulative principles, the yama and niyama, and the pranayama and the pratyahara, and the dharana and the jhana, one comes to the samadhi. So the samadhi is absorption in the Supreme. And he says in the samadhi stage, one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his partial form as Paramatma. So there is a process of doing that. It's not recommended for this age. It's not recommended. This is, again, in the Satya Yuga, we're talking about Kardama Muni, Satya Yuga. But the process of bhakti, this Astanga Yoga, which people are attempting, is not possible in this age. Prabhupada said, yes, it's possible if you live 300 years. But it's not possible. It's not recommended at all. The chanting of Hare Krishna is recommended. But the process of bhakti is so powerful that without going through all this endeavor in Patanjali Yoga or Astanga Yoga, which isn't at all possible in this age, one can be in the position where Krishna will want to see you, and if Krishna sees you, then you can see him. So that's the power of bhakti. Bhakti is it's powerful, and it's the most practical for this age. So it's a very nice question. I hope I'm answering it properly. But the point is that there is a yoga system in which the Patanjali, which you can see God, but it takes great effort, and still the heart has to be primed with devotion. It has to be primed with devotion. You don't get success in Ashtanga. You don't get success in karma. You don't get success in Jnana yoga, any yoga, unless it's tinged with bhakti. So we're not worried about these other yogas. Srila Prabhupada has very kindly directed us toward the only practical method of self-relation and spiritual attainment in bhakti. So I hope that is okay.
Yes, Medhavi Das Prabhu, your answer, as to be expected, was very beautiful and very clarifying and very right to the point. And your answer reminded me, because you said that without devotion, even if you're practicing the bhakti process, if devotion has not developed, then it won't happen for the Lord to be interested in seeing you, for you to see him. And this answer of yours reminded me of one Bhagavad Gita shloka. I don't remember the Sanskrit, where we find Lord Krishna chanting to Arjun that I do not allow myself to reveal myself to the foolish and unintelligent.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, thank you very much for your class and for your wonderful answer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay Krishna Prabhu, for that beautiful question. Thank you very much, Medhavi Prabhu, for the beautiful answer. Any other questions from devotees, please kindly indicate by using the hand emoji or directly raising your hand. Prabhu, I have a question.
Okay, good.
In the course of the lecture, you mentioned something very striking, and which I strongly believe is true, that because of the uniqueness of this Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, the demigods are all scrambling, waiting to take birth so that they could get perfection in this time. But then you explain that for these demigods to be able to take birth, that is required for austerity, for some kind of purification. And this is what is very scarce to find in Kali Yuga. Even within devotional service, we see that sometimes it's not a common scenario to see that devotees, even when they're in the process of devotional service, to practice austerity for several years before they get into married life. And as a result, we're not finding so many demigods appearing, even in our movement. So I wanted to ask, what do we do? How do we, in the course of our development of Krishna consciousness, because the Prabhupada, like you said, it's a worst time, and the Prabhupada wanted so many as spiritual soldiers, the devas who can help propagate this mission. So how do we balance this? How do we make this happen? Because in a practical stage, we see that people just join devotional service, and before you know it, they're already married to one Mataji, and they are not able to bring these demigods. So how do we make this happen?
That's a wonderful question. So we had this one statement Prabhupada makes, that one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. So I have children, and I I remember myself when I was young, when I saw my friends who had, rich parents and rich family and all the country club and the golf course and all that, and the fancy cars, and go on the holiday to Europe and all that, then I was thinking, why didn't I get better parents? And maybe my parents are thinking the same thing. I mean, my children are thinking the same thing. But the Bhagavatam tells us that the parents will get the children they deserve, and children will get the parents that they deserve. So if we don't want to be caught with the short end of the stick, as they say, then we have to be very careful. And that's why these sages, when they were told to procreate, what was the first thing they did? They went and performed austerities for thousands of years, because they knew it's such a powerful thing. We take it, especially in the modern world, where the only thing that's attractive to people is the fact that they can have sex. But the benefit or the result of that will prove one's consciousness. And therefore, one has to be very, very selective about the way one's mind is working. It's an opportunity for creating good progeny, for a great opportunity to bless the world, because the world is blessed by these persons, as the world was blessed and is blessed by Srila Prabhupada. So good quality people, they bless the world. And even our children, even if they don't become pure devotees, which that was the point I was mentioning, even if you undergo the Garbhadan Samskara as best as you can, they still have to be trained. They still have to be trained. Now, we may think if I send my kids to the best schools, best material schools, and they go to the best university, then we've done the best we can. But in many ways, that's not good. It's not good because they only learn to be good materialistic people. And many parents, that's all they want. They want the kids will grow up, and when I get old and I can't take care of myself, then the money will be there or they'll be there. So, it's like being a parent or being a mother especially is the closest thing to real love, but it's still a little bit short. So we have to be careful that when we bring children into the world, it's for the service of the Lord and not for our ultimate insurance policy, let's say. Does that make any sense?
Thank you very much for this answer. I'm very struck by I think the core part of your answer is even when we try in our little best way to try to follow the process, and we bring the children in, they still have to be trained. And I remember you mentioned that through the class. And I think that is the gap in between our experience and what we desire. That sometimes even when we bring Krishna children to the world, maybe the process of training is not that strong, because in most cases, most of the ISKCON development, and this maybe probably bring back to mind the school of thought that one of the biggest challenges ISKCON has is not being able to create a Varnashram dam system, because most of our children, greater percentage of them were trained in karmic or materialistic school. And we see that a greater percentage of these children, even though they were born in devotional service, they had their childhood in devotional service, but they end up in the material schools. And a greater percentage of them are taken to other parts of religious system. They're not following the path of Krishna consciousness. It's a big trend in ISKCON. So it becomes a worry. And I don't know, maybe Flori, you can share some further insight into what can be done for these children that are born in Krishna consciousness, and they've somehow or the other, due to this lack of training you mentioned, have decided to go to other paths, so they're not directly interested in Krishna consciousness. So what could we do? Because it's a big trend in ISKCON globally.
Well, the fact is that the most impressive years for development of a child are like from 1 to 3. That's when the most impressions are being there. So if the parents are very strictly following, then or later on, if the children can be put into a Krishna conscious school, then they'll learn. Well, they won't learn what they're learning in the schools here. Whatever they learn in kindergarten or grade 1 or grade 2, they won't learn the real essence, which is that pleasure comes from serving. Everything in material education is about pleasure. It comes from satisfying my senses. And everything about the Varnashram system really is to serve others, and ultimately to serve the guru and to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that information is completely lacking in modern education. So unless the parents are able to counteract the bad influence of good material education, then what can we expect our children to do? They've just got so many, for 20 hours of the day or 16 hours of the day. They have all the bad impressions and experience that the world offers. And then they're home with us for a couple hours, and then it doesn't compensate. It doesn't compensate for all the bad influence that they receive during the day. So to have a Krishna conscious school, even a day school, and to have, just like, it's interesting, I was told by one senior devotee that in Germany, if you're going to work in the school there, then the headmaster of the school will want to meet the father, if he's going to be the teacher. He'll want to meet the father and the mother and the children too. And the first people he speaks to, he takes the father and mother out, and he speaks to the children and talks to them. What is your father like at home? Not that you just have the CV and you're graduated from this university or that university and you've got this diploma in education. They want to know what you are like as a person, what kind of example, what kind of discipline, self-discipline are you used to? They just won't hire somebody who's got a big PhD, but who's a megalomaniac like that. So, ultimately, we have to create these systems of education. Prabhupada built the framework. He built the building. But we built the temple in Durban and Chatsworth in a year and a half. 12 stories. It was up to the top. Of course, the last couple of stories are just this wide on the dome. But it took 3.5 years to finish it, to fill it in, put the marble in, put the teak, put the all these custom work, the Japanese oak and all that. It took 3.5 years more to do that. So Prabhupada built the structure, but we've got to fill it in. And there's an awful lot to fill in. And we shouldn't complain about ISKCON not having this and not having that. If we see the shortage, then we should come forward to supply what is required. And if we can't do it alone, then try to get some others who are interested, who see the same problem, and get together and take that as a service to Srila Prabhupada. Take that as a service, a personal service to Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for that too, Prabhu. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the beautiful answer. And I'm very much impressed by the way you ended up the answer to the question that we need to take the bull by the horn by ourselves and try to create solutions. And I think I totally agree with that, because solutions won't manifest itself miraculously. We need to do something.
We have a lot of devotees like yourself who are careful and qualified, but we're sitting on the fence, kind of sitting on the fence, whereas actually we want people sitting on the bench. Sitting on the bench means as soon as the person gets sick or injured, you're ready to fill in. You know what's to be done. Now, sitting on the fence means, you're just watching. You don't know. Sometimes you hope that it doesn't work, that your team gets beat because I'm not there, or they're not relying on me like that. You're just sitting on the fence and watching. But, we want leaders that know how to engage people, to encourage them to come forward to do something valuable for ISKCON. But we're not being encouraged. We're not being encouraged. People like to do everything themselves, and whatever. I'm getting off the track here. But the whole point, from my understanding, is that we should encourage people to come forward with their abilities and do what they practically can, because things aren't going that well. ISKCON is not. ISKCON is growing, but ISKCON is not unified. It's not together. This is something that His Holiness Bhakti Churmars was always working forward. The unity of ISKCON, and people would say, well, ISKCON is unified. What's your problem? But it's not. There's 42 different ISKCONs, according to the person who's leading them. None of them are working cooperatively, conjointly, in a way that I know what's going on in America or in Russia or in India, and that I can contribute to that, or I can be a part of that, or I can assist in that. It's not like ISKCON is organized in that way. And then we'll see some real growth. ISKCON is growing, but that cohesiveness still needs to be established. And again, it's happening. It will come. But will we stay the course? And can we assist? What can we do now while we're here to help Prabhupada's movement grow? Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. We have Madhavan Prabhu's hand up. Madhavan Prabhu, please kindly unmute and ask a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. All grace to Associate Hare Krishna Maharaj. So thank you very much, Hare Prabhu. Thank you very much for being there for us. And we quite appreciate the delivery, the lecture you gave us. Very nice. This discussion is quite interesting, but maybe I have a slight different idea. In those days, our Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Krishnapal used to mention that we should avoid in-group and out-group. So actually, there's a dichotomy going on in the movement. We have we say we have an inside devotee, we have outside devotee. Then if you decide to go into Grihastha life, you are seen as you are falling, and that can even inhibit your promotion within the movement. It can be a limitation. You cannot be a guru, you cannot be this. All these things, although they are not written, but actually we practice it. We practice it, and it's not supposed to be like that. A devotee is a devotee. Now, because the way we downplay the Grihastha life, and that's why we are not, our population is instead of increasing, is diminishing. And we don't necessarily need to create our own schools, because even in the Sri Upanishad, it was stated that one should be able to understand both knowledge of nations and transcendental knowledge side by side. We can, like you mentioned in your lecture, we can train our children at home training. We can get trained in Krishna consciousness at home. Our children can go to any school they like. So
well,
when combine,
even if I can cut you off, sorry. Even if we send them to the good school, we still have to compensate at home.
Definitely.
You still have to compensate at home. You can't do that to somebody else. Now, the other side you mentioned about Grihasthas being fallen, and of course, ISKCON, and in the Bhagavatam is a bit of a Grihastha bashing book in a way. But as we see here, that Kardama Muni will have the perfect progeny, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so many other personalities, we go through, especially in the 9th canto, it describes all the whole dynasties of the moon and the sun, practically speaking. So household is an important ashram. It's very important. You don't have any other ashrams if you don't have grihasta. But the fact that we don't enter it properly, we don't understand it before we get into it, we don't understand how powerful and how important it is, then we let people criticize. But it's the most important ashram. If a person can control their senses, if they can utilize their abilities, not only for maintaining a spouse, but for raising children. In the 12th canto, it says if a man can raise a wife and a few kids, he's considered to have conquered an empire. It takes that much energy these days to run a family as it does to run an empire, practically speaking.
Yeah.
So, we accept difficulty. We may have not figured on it, but that's what happens. You have to take so many responsibilities. You have to take all the difficulties of dedicating one's life and raising children. You have a child, that's 20 years, 25 years, or more even. So it's a very important responsibility, and it shouldn't be. And one of the things I just wanted to mention while you were speaking is Holiness Radhanath Swami in Chowpatty. The first thing practically that he did was establish that there should be no discrimination between householders and brahmacharis. He made sure that there's no criticism. There wasn't this almighty brahmachari or sannyasi idea over the householders, that they were both equal and that they were both friends and they're both required. And the first thing he did was stomp out that chauvinism of this and that. So everything in Krishna consciousness is based on the proper attitude of service, proper attitude of humility, and tolerance. So if we don't get there, then like you say, we've made so many people devotees, but they're gone. They're gone because we couldn't keep them.
Yeah.
We attracted them and then we blew them away.
Yeah, exactly.
So when are we going to learn to stop doing that? We need everybody we can. When I took over in Cape Town, we only had 5 devotees there. And people would come. I mean, we're not far away from the mental hospital here. And there are certain people that they're harmless, And then they would come to the Sunday program. And they would ask a question, they'd go on for about 5 minutes saying a question. And then we said, no, you can come to the program, but you can't ask a question. You can take prasadam. So, but still, basically, we accept anyone who will come, anyone. And if we're expert, we can engage them. And they'll feel happy and satisfied, and they'll feel part of our family. But people don't feel that way, So we're very selective. We're very whatever. But Prabhupada, he just showed us that he took the worst of the worst. And, the better people will come later. I heard that Prabhupada said. So when people recognize, the ordinary people who recognize that this world of materialistic prosperity is a joke. It's a joke. You can be flying high in April and shot down in May, as Mr. Frank says. So you think you're going great now. You can lose it all in 20 seconds. You can die, or the market will collapse or something. So nothing in this material is for certain. The only thing that's for certain is our devotion and our association with devotees. So we have to have that faith and that determination. And we need the mercy of devotees who will come and meet us, who will come and call us and ask, how are you doing, Prabhu? And maybe offer some service or offer an opportunity to get some association. So those things are most important. We're failing one another because we don't reach out to each other like that. So thank you very much for your question. Sorry I cut you off.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just my last point. I think we should emulate because Lord Brahma, when he started creation, he has created so many, even sages and so on. But he was still interested in populating the planets, the universe. So therefore, it deemed it fit that he creates Manu and Satyarupa so that they produce progeny and populate. So we should emulate this idea. It's his own desire. So thank you very much. Hare
The
Krishna.
thing is, we read earlier in this in the 20th chapter about the he gave up that shining body, beloved form of moonlight, and the Gandharvas took possession of it. He then involves from his sloth the ghosts and fiends, and then the ghosts and goblins took possession of that body. And then, there's so many descriptions here of, and Brahma lay down with his body stretched at full length, and then hair that dropped loose from the body transformed into snakes, and while the body crawled along, there sprang from its ferocious servants and nagas. So a lot of things come out first. Mostly we find, like with the churning of the ocean, the first thing that came out was the poison. First thing, and sometimes in association, that's the first thing that comes out. But we have to, we have to be tolerant. I'm going to tell you a horrible story from my own life, that when I was on traveling Sankirtan in the UK, I had just joined in ISKCON in 73 or so, and I went to India, got initiated, and then I had to be sent to England. So 1975, I'm traveling in a van, and there's this, you're 4 boys, you're traveling in a van, practically you're 24 hours association. That's a real pressure cooker for your false ego. For your false ego, it really gets toasted. So this one devotee was so humble, so nice, and he would chant so sincerely, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And I'd be sitting in the van, and this was because he was chanting so nicely. I was completely irritated. How is this person chanting so nicely? And I would yell, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. I would try to drown him out even, because I was a demon basically. I was kind of like your ordinary of the role demon, but somehow by chanting, still Krishna hasn't kicked me out yet. But yeah, so we're getting purified. We're getting purified. So we have to be tolerant. We have to be tolerant. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. If we expect pure devotees, then you have to wait till you get back home to Godhead. In the meanwhile, we try to do, especially for ourselves. We need the association. We need it. We can't survive without devotional association. We may be some part of the world where there's no other devotees around except some new person. But we can be inspired by new persons, by their sincerity, by the fact that they haven't got all these sophomore issues, that they know everything and they can do everything. So, yeah, we have to be tolerant, we have to be humble, and we have to be willing to serve. So those things are so important. And, we all want to do that. We want to do that. We know that's what will make us happy. So some of us, again, we're waiting on the bench for when Coach will call us to come and do something important. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Pooh, I dragged it on there.
Thank you very much, MEDHAVI Prabhu, for this beautiful sharing with us. Sriman Bharachara Prabhu, I saw your hand earlier. Are you trying to ask a question or you want to ask later?
Hi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your service, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I'm kind of very much delighted to hear you give a practical appraisal of what is ISKCON today. But what I have doubt about is whether it's going to become more of a uniformed society, or it's going to become more diversified, like unity and diversity.
Yeah.
The point I want to make is that we are not an island. We are living within a broader society where different organizations from time past have grown into many, many branches. And I just don't think that ISKCON will be different. So do we lament the fact that there are 42 ISKCONs, or do we celebrate the fact that the more the merrier? That's my question. Thank you very much.
It's a very good question, Drew. And by the way, you have a wonderful name, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, unity and diversity. So that's a very good point. One thing I can present that we're in the society of the world, really. As you say, it's true, but are we going to give association or are we going to take association? That's the point. We want to give association. We want to, what is the principles of surrender are to accept those things that are favorable and reject those things that are unfavorable. So we can't associate with non-devotees and accept their unfavorableness. We must offer our favorableness without becoming contaminated. So this unity and diversity is so important. But so many times we have to submit ourselves to an authority. We have to submit ourselves to an authority who we don't appreciate, we don't recognize, and we don't think is competent even. So what do we do? What do we do? We surrender. We surrender. That's what Krishna wants us to see. Now, if he thinks this person is a bogus, incompetent, then Krishna will remove them. But Krishna wants to see, will we follow? Will we surrender? That's all we can do. That's all he wants to see. He doesn't ask us to get somebody else to surrender. He just asks us to surrender. So if we can surrender to the situation and the orbit that we've been placed in, with humility and submission and tolerance, and still a strong mood to serve, then Krishna can set that up for us. So I appreciate your unity and diversity, but we shouldn't become united with the material world. That's one of our main problems, maybe. Iha yasya harer dasye karmanam manasavacha. Nikolas vastu jiva muksasa utate. That a person who's engaged with his body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord, he's a liberated soul. But are we liberated souls, or do we really have this yukta vairagya of using everything in Krishna's service, or is it sense gratification? So what is the result? What is the result? Are we becoming more and more attached to Krishna consciousness, or are we becoming more and more attached to the situation of this material world? So we always have to be judging ourselves. We have to be judging ourselves and which direction are we going. Unfortunately, for many devotees, we're just trying to be materially secure. And all of the books we study and read are telling us there's no such thing. There's no such thing. So, you know, as we grow, then Krishna will arrange for us, possibly, to have to give up things in order to attain the things that are the most valuable. So I hope that if you have any more, I may have gotten.
Yes, I have a follow-up. Thank you, Prabhu. You also said that we attract so many people and we blow them up. And part of that blowing them up means, one of the reasons why they get blown out is the fact that they have to serve under incompetent authority or authority that, do not complement them. So if people, what would be better? Getting blown out or assuming, their own roles and continue Krishna consciousness in their own style. So we have multiple Krishna consciousness or ISKCONs, as you're saying, because the other alternative is that people get blown up. It's not easy surrendering to an authority that is incompetent, that is wicked or whatever. It's not easy to do that. In fact, in the process of doing that, you may lose your mind. You may even lose the whole Krishna consciousness. So, this is how I see it. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good question. In the first canto, chapter 5, verse 17, Chakvasa Dharman Charnam Bhujam Harer Bhajan Apakva Put Yatov Yadi Yatra Kava Bhajra Mabuddha Musyakim Kovarta Apto Bhajatam Sadharmata. That anyone who takes the devotional service, even if they don't achieve success, they've not lost anything. Whereas the person who carries on with material activities perfectly doesn't gain anything. So even if we attempt, of course, we should, on the inside of ISKCON, we should see where we're making the mistake, where me or myself, I've blown people out. I can't say I haven't done so. But when you see that a person is getting discouraged, then step in. Step in and create some safe place for them so that they can still stay in Krishna consciousness. Then you're being a friend. Then you're being a real friend. You can keep people to stay in ISKCON. Prabhupada said, I'm not surprised when somebody leaves. I'm surprised when somebody stays. So we know that. we know that in ISKCON, we know. If you can just stay. No matter who's kicking and who's punching and who's screaming and who's yelling, if we can just stay, then Prabhupada will continue to tolerate us. Hare Krishna. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. My last point, of course, I wasn't talking about those who leave, but I was talking about your point about 42 ISKCONs. So I'm saying that in the future, we may have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ISKCONs because of the diversity, because people may not feel satisfied in one setting, and then in another setting, you can still practice. So I'm not talking about those who go back to material life. I'm talking about, the multiplication, or how do you call it? Getting segmented, and that we may think that it's maybe not healthy because that's not so good. But actually, that's why I say unity and diversity. Those who cannot fit in one setting, they can also practice in another setting. So we have multiplicity, no longer just one uniform society, but hundreds and hundreds of branches That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, not those in blue.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Good point. Good point.
Thank you very much.
Everyone,
Yeah, thank you very much, Sumavara
Okay.
Acharya Prabhu, for your question. MEDHAVI Prabhu, thank you very much for this line of thoughts. Actually, they are very impactful because they inspire us to think more deeply about the past, reflect on the present, and then look at what the future could be like. So I would like to ask one question, but I saw Vijay Krishna Prabhu's hand up. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, please, could you go ahead? Then I'll come after him.
Yes, because this class is going on, and it seems to me that there would be time for the following question, because the subject that was just approached, MEDHAVI Das Prabhu, he mentioned Srila Prabhupada saying that I'm not surprised with the ones who leave, but what surprises me are the ones who stay. And this quote from Srila Prabhupada, by Srila Prabhupada, reminded me of the following question. MEDHAVI Das Prabhu, you know better than me that, for example, Gaudiya Math is still existing, and the founder Acharya of Gaudiya Math, if I'm not wrong, is still Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, the guru of Srila Prabhupada. So when you say that, and it seems to me that you like it very much, this quote by Srila Prabhupada, that we should be surprised by the ones who decide to stay. So based on all of this, my question would be, what is the position I would go for using the word technique in terms of saving souls? Because both missions, Gaudiya Math and ISKCON, are meant for the saving of souls, and they're still existing, and the confusion that can manifest in the brains of the devotees, in the souls of the devotees, and even in the lives of neophytes, is that what should I choose? For me to save my soul? Should I adhere to? Should I connect myself with Gaudiya Math or with ISKCON? So the question would be that, is it, because also many devotees, they say, I hear often, that the only organization, missionary society, powerful enough nowadays for saving souls back home, back to Godhead, is ISKCON and no one else. Many devotees speak like that. Even initiating gurus in ISKCON, they speak like that. But then the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Gaudiya Math is still existing, and I don't think that they gave up working for the benefit of the conditioned souls in order to save them from material entanglement. Okay. So, all right. So, what is your personal position when you are in front, face to face with ISKCON and simultaneously with Gaudiya Math?
All right. Now, from my understanding, again, I'm just presenting my limited understanding. From my understanding, Srila Prabhupada is the sole undebilitated survivor of a monstrous spiritual failure in India, the founding of his spiritual master's mission and institution. So what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati created in India was such a powerful powerful organization and movement. So powerful. And what happened? It foundered and fell apart. Now what is left, the pieces that are left, it's fine. Prabhupada encouraged us not to mix very thickly with his god brothers. So he understood two things. One thing is that we would not be able to appreciate them, and they would not be able to appreciate Western devotees with all their bad habits. And they couldn't. 99.9% couldn't appreciate what Prabhupada was bringing to India, what these people were. But the fact is that Srila Prabhupada, he maintained the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Now, the question of whether we want to gain all our allies. We're in a war. We were saying earlier, Prabhupada said, we're in a war. Now, and when the Battle of Kurukshetra became unstoppable, then what did Duryodhana and Yudhishthira do? Duryodhana, yeah. They went and got their allies. They went to get their allies. You can't fight a battle by yourself, and you want to find a battle with as many people on your side against the other people. So we need to have allies. We need people who are on our side. We have our differences. We have our things that we don't agree on, but we're basically on the side of theism. We're on the side of God. Whether we're a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Jew or a Gaudiya Math or a Sri Sampradaya, we're theists. And we need to band together in this war against materialistic, atheistic materialism and atheistic science. That's our enemies. Those are our enemies. People can't see. They can't see who the real enemy is. The real enemy behind this politician or that politician is atheistic science and gross materialism. Those are the things that are destroying the world. That's Kali Yuga. But this is supposed to be a golden age. It's supposed to be coming into one. So if we want to increase, then how do you increase? But you have to expand. You have to expand your influence. And why not start with the people who are most aligned to your understanding, even though they don't understand it? You go to a Christian, he thinks you're an enemy. You go to a Muslim, he thinks you're an enemy. But we're not. We believe in God. So many things in the Bible. I have a friend, a lady, I can quote Bhagavad Gita and she can give me a verse from the Bible, practically. So we're not that far off, really. So we need to cooperate and come together. And this whole idea of disparity, whatever you find. I came back from, where was I? I think I came back from some other place anyway, and I met a young boy at the airport, and he was wearing a dhoti. And I thought, Hare Krishna, how are you? And he told me he was just in South Africa to get a new passport or a new visa so he could go back to Gaudiya Math Ashram in someplace in India. So I said, Hare Krishna, hope you enjoy your stay and good luck in getting back. The next weekend, he was at the temple. He came to the temple just to visit. And then, he got his visa and he went back. So why do we have to claim that we have the monopoly on everything? If somebody's preaching like that, it depends on who you're preaching to, really. You have to understand that you don't want, your audience. You have to understand who you're speaking to. So if you want to just come out with the guns blazing and shoot the artillery shell and blow everybody away, we were talking a bit about that, blowing people away. So a lot of devotees have gone to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's, the remnants of Bhaktisiddhanta's movement, because of being blown out of ISKCON. So that's unfortunate. And we should stop that. And if people find their home there, that's fine. We have no problem with that. The point is, let's get going. Let's get going. Because the world is not getting any better. It's not. We're practically closer to a third world war than we've been in human history. So many things are going wrong. All the governments of the world are so corrupt. The leaders are so corrupt. You don't have to read 12th canto to understand that everybody is a cheater. Everyone's a cheater. So how can we back that? We have to preach to people, continue to preach to people, continue to distribute Prabhupada's books so that people can understand the truth, what it is and what it is not. It's the absolute truth is the distinction between truth and illusion for the benefit of all. So I appreciate your point of view, but let's don't forget the goal. The goal is that we're all working for, and we're all on the same side, and especially with the members of the mission you follow, that we're very close. We're very close. So there's so many similarities. Let's concentrate on them and don't harp on all the disagreements. I hope that's okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Hare
MEDHAVI
Krishna.
Das
Thank you so much.
Prabhu, if I may, your answer reminded me of Srila Prabhupada, if I may say it, saying that your love for me will be shown after I leave by how you cooperate with each other for the purpose of maintaining my mission alive. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Haribo. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Krishna Prabhu, for your question. Thank you, MEDHAVI Prabhu, for the beautiful answer to this question. There's so much nectar flowing in this conversation, and it's glad the art is putting on my mind. When you were answering my last question, you mentioned very affirmatively that ISKCON is going to grow, and I like that affirmation. I like that confidence.
It is
I like
growing. It is growing. You can't say it's not growing.
It's going to go even better. I like that a lot. And one thing that that's going on in my mind as you're answering these last few questions is that in the late 60s, early 70s, ISKCON was growing astronomically. There were less numbers of devotees. There were less numbers of chanters, Vedic scriptures, as given by Srila Prabhupada. There were not so many even books in publication, but yet the movement was growing in a kind of a way that you can practically see a movement growing in a very dynamic way. In the last 10, 15 years, this has been the situation has been the opposite globally, not just in one particular geographical location in the world. And I start wondering in my head, what was there when Srila Prabhupada was physically present on the planet that is not there right now, that is making things the way they are? Because obviously we can see that the growth, it's not the way we will say it was when Srila Prabhupada was physically present.
Srila Prabhupada was able to engage everyone. There was no difficulty for him to engage anyone. You had devotees that were gangsters. They became devotees. You had devotees who were this and that. Think of the worst. In fact, in America, you know, what can you say? Everyone at their high school reunion, the idea was to lose your virginity at your high school reunion. That was cool. That was the cool thing. So, and alcohol and drugs and, of course, illicit connections. That was all par for the course, But Srila Prabhupada was able to engage everyone. So we're maybe not as, well, obviously we're not as good as Prabhupada in engaging people because we don't have that love for Krishna that he had and that love for everyone. One devotee told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you love everyone. Oh, everyone loves you, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, yes, because I love everyone. So if we don't have that loving feeling, that loving movement, then we can't really transfer it to others. So much so. I mean, back then there were fewer devotees, there were fewer temples, but devotees worked so hard. And Prabhupada was pushing. We gave the example of that cartoon in the magazine. It's a pushing movement. Prabhupada, even devotees should say that Prabhupada was practically whipping us to distribute books with his words and his pleading, please help me. Practically. Prabhu, one of my favorite devotees, said Prabhupada was practically whipping, and even Prabhupada himself, he said, I'm practically whipping them. So who can say that now? We're you know, but we want to get back in the fire. We want to get back in the fire. But who will inspire us? Who will encourage us? That we need those persons to come forward now who know how to inspire devotees, encourage devotees, and work with them, not stand in the front. They say, I don't want somebody to lead. I want someone that I can walk beside. So that kind of mood we require more and more, that devotees come together and they see that I can work. This is my friend. We talk about friendship and devotional service. Well, what does a friend mean? Friend means someone who will lay down your life. What is that said in the Tale of Two Cities? That no man have greater love and who will lay down his life for his friend. So do we have that kind of friendship? Not me. Do we have that kind of friendship? When we talk about friendship, I mean, conjugal, let's forget about that for now. But servitorship and friendship, those things are still way, way, way ahead of us. So let's consider, let's get this das down, and that we're the servant of not only our spiritual master, but of all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, MEDHAVI Prabhu. This is beautiful. And I think I'll take this as a take home because my mind is rumbling and thinking in so many ways with all of this beautiful answer, but I think I would want to go with this to digest it. Prabhupada was able to engage everyone, not just engaging, was able to engage them, but also engaging them in loving devotion. That is beautiful, and that makes a unique difference. I totally agree with you with this, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing this. Almost 3 hours. We've been here 1 hour, 50 minutes on this class, and normally it is not surprising because if Maharaj Parikshit could stay awake, not eating, no sleeping for 7 days, 7 nights to hear Bhagavatam. So I can imagine, because my heart is reeling and wanting to continue this conversation. But then because of our limitations, I will say we'll make it a day here. But then thank you so much for beautifully sharing Srimad Bhagavatam. Moderati, I'm seeing your hand up. Was that intentional or Ratmataji? Okay.
Oh, no, Salika Dasa Prabhu.
In fact, Prabhu.
Madharati, go ahead.
Yeah, Ratmataji, please kindly go ahead.
No, I'm not asking questions. I was just appreciating what Prabhu was saying. I was like, I was appreciating it. I really love the lecture.
Thank you. I'm also
again, I can only hope that
I also fall in love with what he said, especially the last answer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, MEDHAVI Prabhu, for sharing this beautiful.
Yes, Salika Das Prabhu, just let me ask the question I presented to you in the chat in private. MEDHAVI Das Prabhu, this is a very personal question, and you don't need to answer it, obviously. But because I am a regular visitor of ISKCON, of Mayapur.tv, the website, and I see that one of the channels is ISKCON Durban, and I found you. Right now, I just found you on Facebook, and I see that you live in Cape Town, African. What is the country of Cape Town?
That is South Africa.
South Africa, yes. What is the capital of South Africa?
Juba.
Well, it has two capitals. One is Pretoria, and then the other one is Cape Town. The parliament.
Yes. So you live in Cape Town?
Yeah.
Yes, and my question is related to Mayapur.tv. Are you a regular guest speaker in ISKCON Durban?
I visit there for Rath Yatra usually, and possibly one other time a year. But if I'm invited, I'll go. But sometimes if I have to pay my way, then I'm not able to go. So I go as often as I can. It's a very wonderful temple. I helped collect 5 years for that temple, and it's a great monument that Srila Prabhupada requested the devotees of South Africa to build. And every time I have the opportunity to go there, then I'm very happy to have been a part of making that happen.
And you said you collected for 5 years. How? By book distribution?
I wish.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, and Vijay Krishna Prabhu, for your enthusiasm, and thank you very much, MEDHAVI Prabhu. We love you, we cherish you, and we want to see you more on this platform, Hare Krishna Africa platform. Your words are very, very inspiring to the heart, and I will pray that Srila Prabhupada will continue to bless you, keep you, so that you can inspire us more in our endeavor to serve Srila Prabhupada. So on this note, I will request all of the devotees who are gathered on this platform to please kindly all unmute. Let us appreciate MEDHAVI Prabhu by loudly chanting a loud Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to appreciate him for this wonderful sharing of Srila Prabhupada's love with us. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakarpata rubhyascha kripa Patitanam pavashne vyo vaishnavyo namo. His grace MEDHAVI Prabhu ki jai. His confounder Acharya, His divine grace Laishi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam class ki jai. Sitai go Premanande.